Hi everybody and welcome to my first ever knitting podcast episode where I will be talking about everything related to knitting. I thought it's finally time to not only consume everything knitting related on YouTube but also to contribute. Hence I'm sitting here. I'm just here to have a great time. I hope you enjoy. Today I'm going to show you my whips. Two of my whips. There are no finished objects because I'm in the midst of knitting. And I found out that it's easier for me to knit what I have on the needles rather than having multiple whips. So having two whips on the needles is already something. Other than that, I will also show you what my knitting plans are for this year. I have curated a list with everything that I want to do, but obviously there might not be any time for that. So I hope you enjoy. Starting off with what I'm wearing. Today I'm wearing my winter's pullover by Ozetta. I finished that pullover in October, mid of October last year. I started in April, March-ish, but I had like a knitting slump in the middle of last year. So that's why I only finished it in October. But this is the first ever sweater that I really loved. All the other garments I made before were not my favorite and I didn't really wear them that often. Some need some tweaking, so I can wear them often, but this is like the first ever garment where I also saw a big difference in blocking. I knit the sweater in drops Nepal and drops Flora, which is definitely off gauge. I think I sized up a needle size, but firstly it's completely off gauge. Secondly, I definitely chose the wrong sizing, but sometimes it's hard to, especially if you knit a lot of petite knit patterns, to find your size with different designers. So it's hard sometimes, but yeah, I could have checked more. I could have checked it like more thoroughly, but I didn't. So that's why this sweater is very oversized, which I don't mind at all. It's a drop shoulder construction, so you first obviously knit the back part, then the shoulder parts, then you join it around. You know how drop shoulder works. It was my first drop shoulder construction, so it was new to me, and I really enjoyed the process. I do enjoy most of the processes of sweater constructions, but this one really spoke to me because it's just like you had so many different things to do, like first knitting the back part flat, then picking up stitches, doing the shoulder parts, then joining it around. I did enjoy the process of making it. I think the yarn itself is also good. Besides the point, it's off gauge, so you should calculate it better than I did. I love the color. It's like an icy gray, but it's heathered. Like you can see some specks of beige coming through, and I really enjoyed making that, and I also enjoy wearing it. It's just a bit hard to wear it all the time since the fabric itself is very heavy and very thick, so very warm. But it just snowed, so it's perfect for the weather now. There's nothing better than a turtleneck on a winter's day. So that's what I'm wearing today. Let's speak about my current whips. As said, I have two whips on the needles, or two big whips on the needles. I'm not counting socks because they're just miscellaneous items that are flying around this apartment. But I have two big whips, and as said, I've learned that it's easier for me to have as little whips on the needle as possible. So two is already quite a lot. I tend to just knit one sweater and then just power through. I recently finished my key sweater by petiteknit within 13 days, which is crazy. I just flew through that pattern. I have no idea how that happened, but I flew through it. And also another knit that I'm utterly obsessed with. But yeah, let's get into my current whips. The first whip I would like to share is the marble sweater by petiteknit. This one is for my mom. I gifted her. That's a thing about gift knitting. I don't know if other people can relate to that, but I think most of my fellow knitters can relate. Knitting a big garment for somebody else is a task. It sometimes feels like a chore. So after gifting both of my parents the yarn for a sweater 4 years ago, I only finished the sweater for my dad last October, I would say too, and I'm still working on the sweater for my mom. It's been a long time coming, but I'm eager to finish it before her birthday in April. That's my deadline. There's per se nothing wrong with this pattern. As I said, I knit it before. She tried it on, she looked great in it, but it's just knitting something for somebody else that is that big. I'm always worried that the other person won't love the garment as much as I do just because I knit it. So I found out for myself that I'm never say never, but for the foreseeable future, I won't be knitting any garments for anybody else. Sometimes I do like to knit some socks or a hat or a scarf, like not a scarf, but like a Sophie scarf for somebody else. I don't mind that because these are small, quick projects, but like a big garment, yeah, it's sometimes hit or miss because like you can't, like it's hard to always go to your mom, for example, and be like, okay, can you try it on? I need to measure, because obviously I'm not living at home anymore, so you know, I also want to make some progress. I'm knitting the sweater with 4 strands of yarn, 2 strands of Sunday by Sandnesgarn, 1 strand of a mohair that I found in a yarn store here in Berlin a few years ago, and drops Nepal. The fabric is quite speckled. My mom loves it, and I think it is really cool because I don't like crazy colors, and I think it's still like pink sometimes can be too crazy, you know, but I like how it's like variegated and speckled, and it just looks different wherever you look, and I think that's quite cool. I also like that it's muted and not too overwhelming, and that was something that was important to my mom as well. So I'm very curious how she will look like when I finished her. I do think I'm playing yarn chicken because when I bought all the yarn, I wasn't an experienced knitter yet. As I said, it wasn't my first year of knitting, and I thought knitting a garment, you know, it's whatever. Obviously it's not whatever. So yeah, we shall see how this will turn out. I do believe in blocking, and I think blocking changes a lot, so I think this will stretch out a lot and become more airy and flowy and just overall more wearable. That's the progress on that one. I hope I finish that in April. I need to finish it in April, and fingers crossed I have enough yarn. Whatever, if not, it's a problem for then. Not for now. I will now enjoy knitting something on 10mm needles. So that's her. My second whip that I'm currently working on is the Cloud Blouse by petiteknit. This is a, I would say, spring, early summer knit. I am knitting this blouse with kid silk mohair by Drops. It is a very nice lilac color. I bought that yarn years back, like also within my first year of knitting. Back then I didn't care about if the color of the yarn would match me. I just liked the color. And I actually bought that yarn for a different project that I never really started. I started it, but it was like knitting with mohair as a beginner knitter can be hard. So I just gave up. So after finishing my key sweater, I was thinking about which project to make next. And I knew that I had this yarn in stash. And sometimes you just want to cast on something. you know, just quickly. I didn't expect the key sweater to only take 13 days, hence I didn't order any new yarn. So I was like, might as well just use the mohair I have already. I don't own anything mohair, just mohair. So I thought maybe that's a good spring knit. We're in the mid of February, so might as well think about spring knits, summer knits already. As you can see, I already finished one arm. That's because I am playing a crazy game of yarn chicken. I have less than the pattern recommended for my size, which usually is very on point, like with the petiteknit patterns and stuff. I never really gauge swatch, but somehow that just works out. I just found the yarn and the needle size that works best for me to most of the time hit gauge with petiteknit patterns, but I definitely have less than the pattern recommends. I've seen that Drops still sells this color, which is great. That was a relief when I saw that, but I'm not planning on buying any more yarn. I just want to finish what I have, and I don't want to be left with, I don't know, still 20 grams of lilac mohair that I can't be bothered to use. For which project should I use it? That's why I finished one sleeve, and I'm now knitting on the body till the yarn that I have right now, that I have on here right now, is all knitted up, and then I will start the second sleeve and knit it as long as this one, because for me having long sleeves or long enough sleeves is very important. I hate when sleeves are too short. So yeah, the cloud blouse is a drop shoulder construction, which, as mentioned, I do enjoy from time to time. It has very interesting details on the shoulder part and the armhole part. As you can see, it has garter stitch details where you join. So when you pick up the stitches for the armhole, you knit garter stitch, as well as when you are joining the back panel with the front part of the shoulders. It's a very nice detail. I do like it because it looks interesting and different. Like, I haven't seen that before, or I haven't made that before, let's put it that way. Also, the arms have the detail of first knitting one by one rib for a few rows, and then just knit plain stockinette stitch so it rolls in. I hope this will come out better when I vlog it, but overall I think it's a very cool idea, and that's what kind of sold me. The hem design of the Amy sweater really spoke to me, but I didn't feel like knitting the Amy sweater right now because I just finished the turtleneck. So when I saw the blouse pattern with this, also with the same hem design, I thought I might just knit this one. I was thinking to either knit the Sevilla blouse or the cloud blouse, and I opted for the cloud blouse because of the hem design. As you can see, I still have to weave in ends and everything, but this is my progress on this blouse, and I'm very, very curious how this will turn out when I'm wearing it, and how it will look when it's blocked, and if I lose the game of yarn chicken or not. These were my whips. I'm hoping to finish them quite soon because I have many great sweaters planned. This year I've really started making a list with everything I want to make. When I started knitting, I had these crazy ambitions of knitting everything that I've seen. I ordered yarn, I bought the patterns, but I never really came around because either I didn't have the time or I found new patterns that I really liked. So this year I've really said, okay, I'm gonna think about what I want to make also along the way, like during the year. I will just write it down, and then I will see when I can knit or if it's fitting to the season and everything. So I have a little list with everything I want to make this year. I don't have to make everything, but it's just for me to gather all the inspiration, gather everything I would like to make, and then decide what I would like to make when I come around to it. So the first thing that I really want to make is the Olga sweater by petiteknit. I adore this pattern. I am itching to knit that for summer. I love stripes, and I think it's just perfect. I'm not very sure if it is a summer knit for me because it can get quite hot here in Germany during the summertime, but maybe it's like still something to have in the beginning of the summer or at the end of the summer when I'm, for example, at the Baltic Sea. I currently have two options in mind how I would like to knit the Olga sweater. The first one would be to knit it in a dark blue, like in a navy and in a cream color. I think it's a very standard color choice for that kind of a design, but I do enjoy everything that is blue and white. So, but I saw on TikTok and Instagram a creator who knitted the Olga sweater in pink and in red, and I absolutely adore the colorway. So I'm thinking to knit the Olga sweater in red and pink, or red and like pinkish, light pink, because this is just a color combination that I really think is really trendy and cool. And usually I don't wear a lot of color, but this one kind of spoke to me. I'm not sure about the yarn yet because the pattern calls for pear gynt, but I have very sensitive skin. And I knitted the sweater for my dad with pear gynt, and I'm worried that because it was kind of itchy when I tried it on, I'm kind of worried that if I would knit a whole sweater with just pear gynt, that it would be too itchy. So I've done some research, and I'm a big drops fan, if you haven't guessed already. So I'm thinking about knitting that sweater in Drops Charisma. I knitted my key sweater with Drops Charisma without knowing that it is a superwash yarn. However, I really like the finished look of it and the feel, and it's just a teeny tiny bit itchy, but not too itchy. The fabric is not insanely thick, so it's not insanely warm, so you can just wear it easily around the house, even if your heater is on. So I'm thinking maybe that is something for the spring, early summer evenings. We shall see. I'm still contemplating if I should size up the needle size because I've knitted the key sweater in 5mm needles as well. I am not the biggest fan of 4mm needles. 4.5, which I'm currently using for my cloud blouse, is the absolute limit. I need to do some thinking on that when the time has arrived to knit the Olga sweater, because the next project that is set in stone is going to be the festival sweater. My good friend from Estonia, she recently sent me a TikTok of a girl who knitted the festival sweater in a light pink and a hot pink, like stripes in a hot pink, and we completely fell in love because she also thought that the red and the pink combo would be insane. The festival sweater calls for double Sunday, which is obviously a more expensive yarn. It is a good yarn, but it's more expensive, and for some reason I have my issues with buying expensive yarn for a sweater for myself. I don't know why, but somehow that's a thing. So I went down to the yarn substitution site and I typed in double Sunday, and I found out that the Drops Daisy is a perfect dupe for double Sunday yarn. So I went ahead and ordered the pink and the red, and it came in yesterday, and that was the flop of the week for me. Unfortunately, the pink doesn't suit me at all, but these are the yarns. As said, I really enjoy the consistency of it. It's like literally like double Sunday. I can't really feel a difference. I think the colors go well together. However, the pink is not my color. And I unfortunately had to find that out while studying the swatch. When I unpacked these, I was so hyped and I was like, oh my god, thank the Lord that this is a good color match. But yeah, I had to be honest with myself and accept the fact that the pink is not my pink. As said, I made a little gauge swatch. I do enjoy the colors very much. They really look good together. So my friend from Estonia is gonna take the yarn that I've ordered because the pink is gonna suit her as well as the red. I'm very happy about that, so I don't have to return the yarn. But then I had to do some thinking, some rethinking, and I was a bit devastated because I obviously wanted this festival sweater in pink and red, and then my other plan would have been to make the Olga sweater in blue and white. But since I had to rethink and make a new plan, I decided to make the Olga sweater in a pink and a red with Drops Charisma, probably Drops Charisma, and the festival sweater in Drops Daisy, but with a light blue base and navy blue stripes. I will order the yarn soon, so I'm very excited to see the colors, how the colors match, but I think it will be fine. So far, I really like knitting that little swatch with Drops Daisy. I hit gauge right away with 4mm needles, and I just think it's such a nice fabric. It's very lightweight, so I'm very looking forward to the festival sweater by petiteknit. The next big project on the list is the Margot sweater by Lynette. I've been eyeing this pattern for quite some time, and I really want to get into color work. I started with the key sweater and my tension was great, and I thought, why not just make one color work sweater this year? That is the only goal I have. So let's see if I really will make that goal, but that's the project that I would like to make. Obviously, the porcelain sweater is also right up my alley. However, everybody and their mom made it, and the Margot sweater I haven't seen that often, to be completely honest, and it has less color work than the porcelain sweater. I have not looked into any yarn options yet, because this is going to be a project that I will be knitting towards the end of the year. I really love the flower design of that sweater, and I think it's so timeless and so chic, but also so cozy and so cool that I'm really itching to make that one. The next pattern is obviously the Amy sweater by petiteknit. My Estonian friend just recently finished her Amy sweater and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It has such a nice 90s vibe to it, so I'm thinking maybe to knit that one in a red color, in a darker red. I would really enjoy that one. So more like 90s vibes, like a 90s color. So yeah, I have not thought about any yarn that I could use for that either, but I have that one in my mind already. This is also gonna be a project that I want to make towards the end of the year. Another pattern that I have been eyeing is the cloud sweater by petiteknit. I've seen a girl on TikTok making the most gorgeous navy blue cloud sweater, and I can't stop thinking about that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make that one because I'm obviously knitting the cloud blouse, and do you really need two pieces of the same kind of line? We shall see, but it's something on my list that I would love to make, obviously in navy blue, because that really looked absolutely gorgeous. We shall see. It's on my list, but there's no need to make it. I don't have any other specific spring summer knits that I want to make. I've thought about making a t-shirt, but I'm not sure if I really would enjoy wearing that one. I don't really want to make a top because most of the top patterns out there are not up my alley, so I don't really see the purpose in making that. But if you have any recommendations, if you see something that you really love or that you've made that you really love, let me know. There is the cloud top by petiteknit that is obviously very similar to the blouse or the sweater too, but I think it also looks very cool. She has some vest options too for summer, but these are all knitted flat, and I'm not the biggest fan of knitting anything flat, like the whole project flat. So that is not something that I'm very keen on making right now. Maybe it will change next year, but for now, I don't have any other spring, summer knits that I'm eyeing. This was my very first knitting podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I could give you some inspiration and let you in into my knitting journey and everything that I want to make this year. Let me know which projects you are working on, or which plans you have, or which yarn recommendations you have. Just let me know in the comments, and I will be seeing you soon. Have a great day. Bye.